Good morning, YouTube friends. I am going to be talking about journaling today. Surprise, surprise. But specifically, this video is it's for everyone, but specifically for those of you who might be interested in starting a journaling practice, but you aren't exactly sure where to begin. I've got 5 tips that I wrote down that are, in my mind, pretty pivotal to starting a journaling practice. So this is for beginners, but also it's great for me to revisit it. I have done videos on these different 5 things in the past, like years and years ago, but it doesn't hurt to revisit them again, even for myself. So we are gonna dive in and start with number 1. The first tip, if you're a beginner and you really want to start a journaling practice, this tip honestly is what begins any adventure you take, whether it be weight loss, whether it be journaling, whether it be no matter what adventure you're wanting to embark on. Before you embark, you have to start with knowing why. Why do you want to journal? And I would like to just kind of preface this. There are no right or wrong answers. I do not journal for memory keeping. I have a lot of friends who journal for memory keeping, and I think that it's awesome and it's super cool. Sometimes I even wish I were that person, but I'm not. I don't journal for memory keeping. My pages are full of rambles and venting and mindset stuff and questions and words, all words. Sometimes I'll throw in a card if it comes in the mail, or a sticker from a favorite site or something like that. But my journals contain mostly words, and that is because my why, I journal for clarity and healing. So specifically in the morning, I have a very ADD brain and I need a place to just put it all down and find clarity. I have so many times where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and just this questioning. And so being able to journal through all the questions that come up for me, that's why I journal. I don't journal for memory keeping. I don't journal to find poetic words. I don't journal to help my writing. I journal to find clarity and healing, 100%. So I would encourage you, what is it about journaling that draws you? Journaling is very therapeutic for me. I've been journaling my entire life, but the daily habit of showing up, really didn't start until, goodness, I can't even throw out a year. I mean, I'd be just guessing. I have bins and bins of them. It was the first year I read Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. That's when that's when I realized, okay, my journal isn't just to list what I did yesterday. My journal, doing those morning pages is Julia Cameron's term for, writing first thing in the morning, 3 pages. I found myself through that practice. And so that's very similar to what I do. I do morning mindset pages, and the only difference, because I know some of you have asked, is I don't put a rule on how many pages, so I don't have to write 3. Sometimes I only write a paragraph, and I always try to work my way out with the intention of having truths at the end. That's where the mindset work comes in. Whereas with typical morning pages, there are no, you just write whatever. I have that goal at the end. So if I've been venting, I try to remember to always bring it back to some type of truth. Okay, moving on to number 2. I can talk forever about journaling. Okay, number 2 is to throw out all the rules. Like I did with morning pages. It's okay to write a paragraph. It's okay. You might have days where you pull out your journal and you don't feel like stopping, where you're just page after page after page. Listen to your intuition. Throw out the rules that anybody else said. It's also okay not to write for days or months. There are some seasons, there was a specific season in my life that I stopped journaling, and that was because it was a very dark season for me. And when I came to the page, it didn't help me. It was no longer a tool. And that's why you have to know your why. Because if journaling no longer became what my why is, if it no longer became a tool to help me gain clarity and healing, then it is time to put it aside. And that's what I had to do for almost a year, actually. And another permission granted thing that I would like to confess or offer you, it's okay to tear pages out. It's okay to burn your journal when you're done. It's okay to just scribble. It's okay to glue collage over your words. It's okay. Yeah, permission granted. There are no rules except for the ones you make for yourself. Okay. Number 3, use what you will want to write in. Use something when you pick out your notebook. So, isn't this adorable? This is a composition notebook that a friend sent me because I'm working with Bat this year as my animal. Look at my new earrings. They are, my dad made these, and they are, it's actually from a silverware set, but it looks like a bat. It's got flowers at the end, but it kind of looks like a bat hanging upside down. Anyway, I totally rabbit trail there. Bat is my animal for 2022 that I'm working with, and a sweet friend saw this and sent it to me. But for me, for years, I could not seem to let go of the perfectionism mindset of working in a really pretty journal. And so that's where my love for composition books started. Specifically because of The Artist's Way. I'm like, I am writing 3 pages a day. I didn't want to like waste a really pretty journal on my venting and rambles and, word vomit. So I fell in love with composition notebooks. Now, since then, I have been able to, and it's only been in the last couple of years, to dabble in other quality notebooks. And I have had to like deal with that mental chatter occasionally, and I've had to like speak the truth over it that I am worthy of a nice notebook. But if you feel yourself, if it hinders you in any way, get a 75-cent composition notebook. Go to the Dollar Tree and pick out a journal. The Dollar Tree actually has some really cute journals of all different sizes. So yes, if you're the person who you want a pretty journal and that will make you want to write in it, get a pretty journal. If you love leather and you just like, those Italian notebooks at Barnes & Noble's like call to you, then listen to that. If you feel like you'll be able to write in it. For me, I needed the composition notebooks and then had to work through all of my chatter in my brain about the price of a journal. But that's not everyone, again. Okay, number 4, this one is a big one for me. Pens matter. Pens matter. Pens matter, okay? Let me say it again. Pens matter. Here's the thing. And again, we are all very different. But when you're journaling, you don't want anything to hinder you, whether it be the journal you're in because you're worried about filling it up too fast, or it's too big and you're worried about not actually filling it, you're worrying about abandoning it, or whether like you don't want to be hindered by anything when you're journaling. You want to get out of your own way. And I feel like I can't do that if I have a pen that doesn't flow with me. If I have a pen that sticks or doesn't flow properly, all of a sudden it gives a pause to my journaling that then allows that ego mental chatter to get in the way. And again, I journal for clarity and healing. So if I'm trying to work out something and I've got a pen that is stopping me or slowing it down, that gets in the way of my healing and clarity search. So for me, I have mentioned over and over again, do I have one here? I'm sitting at my desk. Let's see. I've actually got some good ones to recommend here. I've mentioned over and over and over again that one of my favorite pens, one of my favorite pens is actually I have an empty one because I've got my bag of empties that I'm collecting for 2022. Okay. This is the pen that I used for years and years and years. This is actually a special edition. It is the Pentel Energel. You guys have heard me talk about it a million times. This is the black Pentel Energel black. I loved this set so much. Basically every color, like this one is indigo black. So it has like a hint of blue. And then there was like a forest black and there was like a red black, green black, blue black, and then regular black, I think. Oh, and a purple black. Anyhow, if you're starting out, don't worry about getting into the fountain pen world. That's what I would love to say here. And I love fountain pens, and that's what I currently use for my journaling. But I started with Pentel Energels. You can get Pentel Energels at the Dollar Tree. Okay, they come in packs of 2 at the Dollar Tree, but you can also get them at Target, Walmart, any office supply store. They write so smooth. You can get them in different sizes. They do not skip. They do not hinder. They do not they are amazing. So if you're starting out and you want to just pick up something real quick from an office store or Target, the Pentel Energel will keep you happy and not hinder you. Another one that I really, really love is the Uniball Air. And this one, the reason I love it so much, my favorite is actually, it comes in this like orange color. But one of the reasons that I like the Uniball Air is because they claim that it will write from all directions. So it doesn't matter, because I hold my pen funny. And so it doesn't matter if you hold it like this, if you hold it like this, you can hold it, however you want to hold it, it will write from all directions. I don't know if you can see the tip on that, and I have found that is true. So starting out, those are the 2 pens I would recommend for flow and not hindering you. You might be a ballpoint pen person. I am not. I do love the ballpoint pens for coloring books and things like that. But for journaling, I don't like to add any pressure. Because I write so much, if I'm having to like push down, it doesn't work. I want a pen, and this is how my fountain pens, this is like the test if it's going to be a fountain pen. And I do this with practically every fountain pen. I just sit it down on the paper, and without any kind of just hanging on to it and guiding it, it needs to write without any pressure. That's how I know that a pen is not going to hinder me during journaling. Okay, so if you are into fountain pens, there are my top 2, if I were to suggest top 2 fountain pens. I started with the Lamy, and I loved it. I was totally a Lamy follower. I think a Lamy is a great first pen, not super expensive. I think you can get them for $20, $25. Along those same lines though, I then found the TWSBI, and the TWSBI has my heart. I don't know what it is about the TWSBIs, but I think it might be because it's a piston, it holds more ink, and so you're not having to refill it as often. And still to this day, those are 2 of my favorite pens. I still rotate daily. I have TWSBIs going, I have a Lamy going, and then I usually have some other stuff. Anyhow, so if you're interested in fountain pens and you're looking for something that will be smooth and not hinder you, look into the Lamy, look into TWSBI. One of my favorite, you can go to, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on JetPens, but Goulet Pens is my favorite place to get fountain pens. Their customer service is amazing. So, and again, I don't get paid for any of the things that I'm sharing with you guys. I will put Goulet's link down below. Okay, now number 5 and the final tip if you're wanting to start a journaling practice. This is give yourself permission to start small. Don't go into it thinking morning pages, like you're gonna write 3 pages. If that's what you are wanting to do, I highly recommend getting the book, The Artist's Way, because I don't think that I could have just done the practice without the book. Like the book made it make sense why I was doing that. Some of the ways that you can start small that I recommend is you can keep like a themed journal and maybe start with, in the mornings, make a wish for your day. That's journaling. Like just a couple sentences. What is your wish for that day? Another great thing is to keep, like at the end of the day, if you're an evening journaler, write about your favorite part of the day. Like that's starting small with those little things. It gets you into the habit that then you can also expand on. How do you feel? So waking up in the morning, sitting with your coffee, that I start with that a lot, even today. Like that's usually how I start my pages. I wake up, I get my coffee, I sit down next to my husband, he does his thing, I journal, and I usually start with how I feel. It could be, I didn't sleep great last night, I have a headache, the to-do list is just like forever long, I'm feeling overwhelmed. But just starting with how you feel, but then I do recommend trying to write yourself out, like write yourself up and out of a funk if you're in it. Another thing is grounding yourself, and this is another favorite practice that I do in my journals regularly too, is grounding yourself in the now. So if you're not ready to dive into feelings and like try to work yourself out, just describe the things around you. So like yesterday, it was a windy day, and so I have wind chimes in the back and I could hear them, and so I described them. On sunny days, I can hear the birds. Like, so just sit and describe everything you can hear, see, smell, and that is a great beginning. Just starting, like, don't overwhelm yourself with these big, huge goals. Start small and build on that as you find what works for you. Okay, that is everything. Hope you guys are still around. I can tend to rabbit trail and ramble, but you guys know that here. So hope you have an amazing rest of the week, and until next time, enjoy your wild, sexy lives.